My name's Chloe Horner and I'm the cook here at FarmEAT. This is the first in an occasional series about the way that we source our food here at FarmEAT and for our visitors. First of all, we're going to visit the Missing Bean, who supply our coffee. We chose them because they are based locally in Oxford, but also because they deal with single estate coffees, so they deal directly with the farmer. So the coffee we've chosen is a shade grown coffee, which is grown in Colombia by a family. It's also organic, and the family is multi-generational, so from the grandfather down, all have some involvement in the farm, and that we feel sort of also reflects quite nicely the values that we have at FarmEAT, where there is a family quite heavily involved in the running of the farm, but also that FarmEAT should be a space for multi-generational experiences.
I am Maury Hallop from the Missing Bean coffee roasters in Oxford. The coffee that is used in FarmEAT is a coffee that we source directly and have been working with for the last 5 years, and is grown in the region of San Gil in Colombia by Santiago Salazar. And it's an organic coffee, shade grown, and it's a beautiful tasting classic Colombian coffee, good flavors and very well sourced, I believe. Shade grown coffee specifically means that the coffee is grown with other wildlife around there, under other trees. So for instance, the coffee that you're drinking here in FarmEAT is mainly around clementines, avocados. The farm is called El Calapo, which is after a tree called the Calapo tree, which is grown massively around the farm. It means that other wildlife, especially birds, can still survive and live very well around there. The downside to it, the reason other farmers sometimes don't do it, is that it means that you have to process by hand because you can't get machines through the farm. And it also means that you get less of a crop, so less of a yield, but what we believe is better value, better for the surroundings, and better tasting coffee. The reason for organics, so the whole of the Santiago Salazar farm, El Calapo, is all organic, so they don't use any pesticides on the farm. A lot of the coffee farms, what they will do is they'll have sections that are organic, sections that aren't. Santiago's belief is that everything they do around the farm has to be organic, and that includes everything else they produce, apart from the coffee. He believes in that very strongly. He believes that that will produce a better coffee, and believes it will produce a better life for his children and for the whole area surrounding the farm itself. Santiago's farm is actually divided into two separate farms. There is the El Calapo, which is at the bottom, and Santa Rita a little bit further to the top. They produce around 80 tons of coffee a year, so it's quite medium-term farm in Colombian terms. We buy, out of those 80 tons, we buy about 6 tons a year, so we kind of not a massive part of the production, but we like working with them closely. Apart from that, the only thing they sell is really coffee from the farm that they produce. But on my visit to the farm, you could eat while you're visiting. They had tomatoes, pineapples, avocados, I think about 10 different varieties of clementines and oranges, citrus fruit, obviously lemons. A lot of what they eat is actually grown on the farm as well. They have a large section for their workers that live on the farm all year round, and another big section for the time that production comes. The labour goes up quite a lot because you need a lot more people to pick and process the coffee. So then you get another large amount of people that will come in, just seasonal workers, mainly for the picking, and they have great living conditions for these people. It's great, they can see them all eating their lunch together, big groups. Yeah, just a very nice, beautiful farm. Santiago Senior is probably in his late 60s, and he's the one that drives the whole force together. His son, Santiago Jr., is involved over the last 5 years to try and help him be a bit more modern in terms of the varieties that he grows and the processing methods that they use. So the coffee world is changing quite a lot in terms of processing methods especially. So he's encouraging him to get a bit more help, to grow different varieties, to experiment a lot more, and that is resulting in higher prices for the crops that they're producing and just getting more renowned, and the score of the coffee going up year after year. Junior has also studied economy, so he's helped them out with sourcing new clients. His English is a lot better, so communication in terms of the shipping, he helps a lot with that. The younger brother Juan is getting involved a lot more. He's just gone to study, he's only 18. He came to visit Oxford last year and stayed around just to study English. We looked after him for quite a while, so it's kind of the whole family comes together. The daughter is a barista in Bogota, so she's not really involved in the coffee level, but is still working in coffee. So yeah, it's kind of definitely a family operation.